here with the legendary bad boy, Rick Johnson. How you doing, man?
Doing awesome. Here at Anaheim one more time. Been here, man. Been coming here since the early 80s, and it's pretty cool because right now I think the sport is at the peak that it's ever been as far as notoriety, social media, and also riders. I think, as some of the guys said, the field is deeper than it's ever been.
So, you had one of the best races ever, set up by Scott Burnworth. Do you get reminded of that every single time you're here? And what's your thoughts on the race? I know you ended up second, but you got your championship.
Yeah, so I look at it as they classify it as one of the greatest races of all time, and we're in that fight. If you look at David Bailey's made the comment of Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier type of fights, and to be classified in that is an honor, but. Some people won't let it go. They want to relive it. They want to go back and forth.
I apologize. I'm one of those guys. I love it. I go back and watch it on YouTube just because.
Right. And the thing was, David rode a great race. That was the second weekend that I knocked down Scott Burnworth. I knocked him down to Golden State the week before. And when I hit him here, it wasn't near as intentional as the Golden State race, but we still did hit, and he did it with the bike on top of him, and so he was pissed and he blocked me. And I'm not saying David wouldn't have caught me and passed me anyways, but that did contribute some of it. I was sick, sick the first round of the Golden State, so I wasn't in shape yet. So I ran out of air, and I was running anaerobic, and I got tired. And David rode a perfect race and caught me and passed me, and we went back and forth, and then I just ran out of gas, and he took off.
So you mentioned that you trained for Supercross by riding outdoor Golden State. You look back on that and say, man, why didn't we ride Supercross or be a little bit more specialist?
Because that's what everyone did. You went out and we all, at that point, we had test tracks. Honda had their test track in Mississippi Valley. Brock Glover and I had a test track down in Ramul. Kawasaki and Jeff Ward had their track. Yamaha was, had one out, and I think it was Deanne's at the time. So there wasn't that many Supercross tracks, and I didn't like riding the same track over and over and over and over, and I also like racing. So I wanted to know what Jeff Ward was doing. I wanted to know how Johnny O'Mara was. I wanted to know how David Bailey, Ron Lachey. I wanted to see how I stacked up against them, and that was just the way we did it. And then was it great? Because we always ended up coming here and having to stiffen up our suspension because the jumps are bigger and landing harder and stuff like that. But that's just the way we ran. And now you're seeing guys like Justin Brayton and stuff running over in the Australian Supercross. So now, like you said, he's already got the hands calloused up. He's got his bike set up. He feels good. Yeah, the level's going to be up higher, but he's ready.
So, speaking of Justin Brayton, he's 35, and he looks like he's still getting better. And I mentioned to him up there, I totally believe in other sports, you're not old until you're over 40, or as long as you don't have a serious injury. Like, unfortunately, you had the wrist injury. Do you think we got it all wrong on age, and if we just started these guys a little bit later, they could go into their late 30s?
Partially yes and partially no, just because to have the ups and downs and the racing knowledge that it takes, and that's what he doesn't have. Like Justin was always like, when I worked with him when he was at KTM and stuff, I could get him through the whoops faster than anybody. But when it comes to racing knowledge and passing back and forth and this and that, that's where I think Justin's suffering. When it comes to Supercross versus any other sport is the risk of injury. And Tom Brady can go timeout, go on the sidelines, have somebody step in for him, and every so minute they stop the game, they reset. Imagine if Tom Brady was taking the ball like rugby and trying to break through the line every play. Someone punched him in the face, tried to break his knees, do all the different stuff. Same thing. You look at LeBron James, you look at these other athletes, they can take a break, and you can play to their advantage. Supercross, there's no playing to your advantage. You have to have the complete package. You have to be able to get the starts, you have to have the cardio, you have to have the right knowledge to communicate the changing, and then you have to have the balls to try things that no one else is doing, because yeah, we got the triples, we got this, we got that, but those rhythm sections, someone's got to sack up and do it. And when they do it, they can gain 2 seconds a lap. Now you have to do it. And so you take somebody that's raced a bunch, you try something, you gain confidence. You do it again, you gain confidence. You crash one time, you gain some insecurity. So now you go up to do it, and it comes down to that last lap, and you have a little piece of that negativity in your head, and you hesitate. And that's why an old Supercross racer typically isn't the greatest Supercross racer. They're great, don't get me wrong. Chad, I think, can win. I think Justin can win. I think that's all true. But it's that spectacularness that you have with youth that people don't count.
Would you say it's like the strength and you don't know what you don't know?
Exactly. Because you're going to go for something, and even if you look at Justin Brady's style, not Justin Marshall. That he's been so aggressive and does all this crazy stuff, and now you're listening to him. I've set the bike up completely for me. He's won main events. He's done this. He's done that. He's not that same wild child, crazy guy. I think when you get in man on man with him, he'll put it to you. But that's his style. Jimmy Hawley had the same style back in the '80s. So you open the door, they'll close it for you. But being young is definitely a gift in Supercross, just for healing and inexperience.
So you mentioned Jim Hawley. Let's go back to your racing career. I know you had it out with Ron Sheen multiple times, brake checking. I think you punched him in Golden State. Was it?
Yeah. I hit him once.
Who's the dirtiest rider you rode with, and who's the best rider you rode with?
Well, dirtiest, if you let him, would be Jay Hawley. He broke my leg when I was 14 years old. He would come in hard and he T-boned me and broke my leg.
Nice Uncle Jim over there.
But I opened up I passed him, opened up the corner. He came down the inside. He said he missed the break, whatever. He just came in hot. I don't think he meant to break my leg, but he did mean to knock me down. But it broke my tibia. As far as just taking cheap shots, Ron Lachine was like that because he had a strategy. He wasn't in great shape, so he would go out there. Then he would open up the door for you. If you took it, he'd take you down because he'd figure the time that you had to go down and get back up to go. So you had to race him different. So I don't look at it as dirty. I mean, some people might classify that as dirty, but you raced everybody different. David Bailey and I had a really massive take each other out phase. And then in Gainesville, we had a talk and said, are we done with this? From that point, we still ran into each other. But it was either a block pass, or it was never a T-bone. It wasn't take out the front wheel anymore. It was banging off each other, and that's the part of the physical game that you have to have in Supercross. And unfortunately, if you're a second slower than me, I'm going to have to hit you to get by you. I can't like Tom Cruise downshift and pass you. I have to use the physical element to make it work. So. Ross Pedersen from Canada, he would open up. Gerald Schultz back in the day was a rough one. Danny Chandler wasn't dirty, but he scared the shit out of you because you didn't know where he was coming from. He was coming in all night. And Guy Cooper the same way, just trying so hard, it spooked you to be around him. And probably the best, most technical rider I would say is David Bailey.
Run.